Imagine this. During an underwater research mission, a strange and terrifying object is discovered. After this finding, nothing remains the same. The company involved is even forced to declare bankruptcy. Now, let's take a closer look at what the Baltic Sea Anomaly really is. Before watching the rest of the video, try to guess what this anomaly could be, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see whose guess comes closest to the truth. The year is 2011. A Swedish team called Ocean X, searching for sunken ships and valuable treasures in the Baltic Sea, is heading home after a 9-day exploration. As their sonar equipment scans the seafloor, it picks up something extraordinary. Right in the middle of the flat seafloor lies a massive circular structure. At first, the crew can't quite make sense of what they're seeing. To investigate further, a 3-person team dives down to examine the object up close. But this mission will take an unexpected turn, because what started as a simple treasure dive would end up uncovering an anomaly that doesn't even seem to belong to this world. An enigma we still haven't been able to solve to this day. Led by Peter Lindbergh, the research team continued scanning the seafloor with sonar as they returned from a 9-day expedition. Off the coast of the Gulf of Bothnia, they discovered a bizarre formation, a sunken object resting on the seafloor, 64 meters in diameter and 8 meters tall, with almost perfectly circular lines. Captain Peter Lindbergh, who has spent his life exploring shipwrecks beneath the sea, instructs his team to quickly prepare the robotic probe to dive down and capture high-resolution images before the approaching storm hits. The robot is lowered into the water and slowly moves toward its coordinates as the team eagerly heads to the control room to watch the incoming footage. When the robot reaches a depth of 70 meters, the outlines of an unfamiliar object begin to slowly emerge from the distance. The entire team watches the footage intently, believing they've found a massive sunken ship. But as the robot passes 80 meters, approximately 262 feet deep, things suddenly start to change. The robot's compass starts malfunctioning as if it's gone crazy. The camera feed first becomes grainy, then suddenly goes completely dark. The ship can no longer receive signals from its machinery. Captain Lindbergh asks the crew in the control room if any cables might be tangled or caught on something, but everything appears to be fine. At that very moment, the ship's electrical systems begin to flicker and shut down intermittently. As no one can make sense of what's happening, a sudden image appears on the darkened screen. A sharp, straight edge and a formation resembling steps. That's all the data they receive. Then the signal cuts out again, and the team pulls the robot back to the ship. After working for several months on the limited sonar images they obtained, Ocean X founders Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Osberg, unable to make sense of the data, begin searching for help online. They post the events along with the footage on their website and send it to several news channels. Then, like wildfire, the story suddenly explodes worldwide. The Ocean X website starts receiving 300,000 clicks per day and thousands of emails. However, most of the ideas and comments claim, without any evidence, that the structure is either a UFO or the work of the devil. As Ocean X returned for a second expedition to the mysterious Baltic anomaly, they came fully equipped for all possible conditions. After 2 days of searching, they finally located the wreck. As the advanced robotic probe begins its descent toward the coordinates once again, everyone holds their breath. Unlike the previous probe, this one manages to approach the wreck, but technical issues start to resurface once more. The cameras fail to produce clear images as expected, and electromagnetic interference prevents the equipment from functioning properly. Despite all the difficulties, the team manages to bring the robot close enough to reach the sharp edge of the structure, and this is the image they capture. The team begins preparations for a deep sea dive. A diving crew of 3 gets ready for the extremely dangerous 80-meter descent, and the mysterious journey begins. As they get closer to the object, the radios begin to experience heavy interference, and communication with the ship starts to break down. Dive leader Stefan described the structure as follows. When I first saw it, it looked like a concrete bunker, but when I touched it, I realized that what seemed like concrete was actually a muddy layer that had been covering the structure for a long time. What made things even more intriguing was that, as the divers cleared the layer by hand, a pitch-black, molten-like stone surface was revealed underneath. Of course, in the freezing waters of the Baltic Sea, it's impossible to stay at 80 meters for long. So the team quickly started taking photographs and collecting samples from the structure using the hammers they brought with them. The technical equipment was not functioning properly, and intense migraine attacks began to affect the dive team. As a result, the mission was aborted to allow for analysis of the collected data, and the team returned to shore. Peter and Dennis first consulted experts in underwater archaeology. The experts state that although the materials of the structure resemble natural substances, its shape and details are artificial, crafted by human hands. So, it's a man-made structure. But here's the question. question. How could something man-made end up sunken in the middle of the sea? Keep this question in mind. We'll get the answer shortly. Samples taken from the structure were sent to Stockholm University for analysis. When the team received the results, they were shocked once again. The black substance, resembling melted stone beneath the mud, was actually confirmed to be molten basalt. Now, here's the big problem. In the region surrounding the Baltic Sea, there hasn't been any volcanic activity capable of causing this kind of melting for thousands of years. To be more specific, there's been no such activity in over 10,000 years as we know it. So then, where did this molten basalt come from? What's even more intriguing is this. Let's say this structure is somehow a pile of molten basalt. Then what do all those sharp edges, perfectly carved circles, precise frames, and circular holes within triangles mean? These are formations that simply cannot form naturally on their own. Considering the sonar research, 3D modeling, photos taken, and small rock samples collected, three main theories have emerged regarding the Baltic Sea Anomaly. The first theory claims the structure is an alien spaceship, a craft from another world. The second suggests it's a very ancient human-made construction, and the third argues that it's entirely a natural formation. Now, let's take a closer look at these theories. The claim that the structure is an alien spaceship was first made by the research team leaders themselves, Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asperg. The anomaly's perfectly circular shape, along with its protrusions and indentations, supports this possibility. But what strongly supports this theory is the 3D modeling done on the seabed. What you see here is a 1,500-meter cross-section between the structure and the nearest hill. Did anything catch your eye? The hill is shattered from a severe impact. And when we follow the flat deformation on the ground, we find our anomaly, its front side broken by the force of the collision. The geological evidence really paints a vivid picture of a collision right before our eyes. But some of you might ask, couldn't it be a meteor? And honestly, that's a reasonable question, because in the basalt layer on top of the structure, there are minerals not native to that area. This suggests these minerals could have arrived via an asteroid, but there are two main sources that challenge this theory. The first is the fact that a 60-meter asteroid hitting the water wouldn't leave such a mark on the seabed at 80 meters depth. The second is the absence of any evidence of a collision in the area. Some might argue that the area wasn't underwater back then, and only got flooded after the impact. But here's the catch with the sharp edges. Meteors entering Earth lose most of their sharp edges due to friction. Plus, the impact energy usually shatters them, leaving behind a crater. The second theory suggests the anomaly is a man-made structure. This is an important detail because, according to legends, the area was once home to a civilization called Hyperborea. Myths. Hyperborea appears in history as a mysterious civilization, much like Atlantis.
Back to the mythical underwater city of Atlantis.
In the middle of the Baltic
Others
Sea,
think it's a megalith, a sort of submerged Stonehenge.
Carvings of unknown age. Based
There
on
are
this,
other
it can be
findings
assumed that
around the
community
world
once
that are
lived in the area and created the structure before the sea level rose, after which it was submerged underwater. However, the reason we link this theory to a more fantastic idea, an ancient legendary civilization like Hyperborea that existed before the Great Flood, is because of the volcanic basalt that covers the structure. The final theory comes from the scientific community and is known as the iceberg explanation. According to this view, volcanic activity thousands of years ago covered the area with basalt, and the subsequent movement and melting of glaciers over thousands of years caused erosion that led to the formation of this unusual rock. But here's the problem. In an area spanning tens of thousands of square meters, there's no other anomaly like this one. So how could it have remained alone? As I said, none of these theories have been proven or disproven. One of the main reasons it's called an anomaly is because it holds all kinds of fascinating possibilities within it. Just as the third dive project was about to begin, the project was completely canceled, marking a difficult period for the Ocean X team. That morning, Dennis Asperg recounted, "As I was getting ready for breakfast, I was browsing the news online and suddenly noticed our company's name appearing across various media outlets. Some American media companies, despite no solid evidence yet, claimed that the Baltic Sea Anomaly was just an ordinary rock formed by glacial movements. Now, some of you might think, what's the big deal about just one channel? Why would they want to shut these people down? But by now, you know the topics discussed on these channels rarely unfold that simply. Right after Fox's report, within just a few days, many media outlets and social media groups around the world started spreading this baseless news. Not only did they spread it, but they also claimed that Ocean X had fabricated all their sonar images and photos, accusing them of deceiving people. But after seeing these events, even if someone was skeptical, they now want to believe that something strange is indeed happening. What fuels their suspicion even more is that all these incidents occurred just as the team was about to start drilling. Could it really be that the remains of an alien spaceship, not from this world and crashed on the planet thousands of years ago, are lying there? Looking at the cracked hill and the friction marks on the seabed, this seems possible. Or maybe there's a secret there. emitting electromagnetic energy from an ancient civilization, waiting to be discovered? I guess we won't find out anytime soon. Because since that day, no further research missions have been carried out in the area, at least as far as we know. The mystery of the anomaly still remains today, making us ask, we've only explored about 5% of our ocean floors, so what other secrets might be waiting to be discovered beneath them? Thank you all for watching the video. Please don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments about what you think this structure might be. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Take care of yourselves and see you in the next video.